To be quite frank, I didn't really know what to sell. Do not make this mistake. That it took me 5 months to launch my shop. Then just start creating what you like, whether it's sellable or not. I'm so happy that I stuck through with it. Hi, my name is Julia, and I have a handmade polymer clay business based in New Jersey that I started while still living at home. I also recently just graduated college, and although I just spent the past 4 years working to earn a degree in marketing, my true life goal, passion, and dreams is to run an online business, attend in-person events, grow my brand, and inspire others to do the same. So today I'm going to share with you guys my story on how I started my online business from beginning to end, so I can hopefully help you guys do the same and avoid the mistakes that I made throughout. Starting a small business is something I've been wanting to do since I was a fetus, and I even ran my own duct tape wallet business back when I was 12 and 14. And I feel like ever since starting college, I've been wanting to tap back into having my own small business. But for most of my collegiate career, I was a student athlete who was working at White Castle. So I literally had no time to do anything and barely practice my art in general. And on top of all that, I was extremely burnt out. But then 2024 came, aka my last 2 semesters of school. I left some things behind and started to tap back into my neglected creativity. The idea of starting a business felt so much more possible, and I even semi-started a business back in October of 2024 where I made a singular item for my shop, and it was a ghost Halloween themed tote bag. And even though I made 0 sales, just starting that really got the ball rolling and got me excited to go all in just 2 months after I graduated. So after my last semester and my last few days of school in December of 2024, I did exactly that. So January 2025 hits and I am all in. But to be quite frank, I didn't really know what to sell. And deciding what to sell is basically the first step that you need to do when starting an online shop. I had a general idea of stickers, prints, and tote bags, but I didn't have a refined styles and I didn't know where to take my art because there was a million ways I could have taken it, and I just felt so lost in the beginning. The only thing that I did know is that I love drawing portraits with markers, and specifically Crayola markers, because that's all that I had. And I wanted to get better at it anyway, so I thought, well, I can start my business by growing my audience since I have to do that anyway. So I'm going to make a series about me trying to get better at drawing a portrait with Crayola markers for 30 days straight and post about it every day. Yeah, that was a great way to speedrun burnout. But I would say if you're in the same boat as me where you have no idea what to sell, then just start creating what you like, whether it's sellable or not, and post about it in the meantime, because at this point you're a beginner and posting is going to help you to not only learn how to post, but it'll help you learn what you like to make. This may seem backwards because a lot of people talk about pick your niche, pick your niche, pick your niche. While this is eventually true if you want to grow your business even more in the future, this is your experimental stage. So if you're starting an art business, post your art or whatever you think would be fun to work on, and then over time you can niche down and figure out what you want to sell. But do keep in mind, when you don't have a niche and you're just posting around and learning about, your audience will not grow steadily, or in my case, your views and followers will drop significantly. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not regret doing the portrait challenge whatsoever, but I basically spent a month building an audience that was into art content and 2D art, and not small business content and polymer clay art. So when I transitioned, like I said, my views and engagement just dropped significantly. But in the end, I got better at something that I like doing. I got better at making content, and I gained a lot of confidence to post. And this is coming from someone who only has 1 post on their main account in Instagram. The benefits of having a loose niche outweigh the cons, so I would honestly recommend making whatever content and art you want to make first, and then narrow it down to wherever you want to take your page. Just remember that with a new niche comes a new audience. So after posting content online for over a month, I was like, alright, it's time to make some moves. So that meant actually deciding what I wanted to sell and prototyping that. But I will say that whatever you make sure it excites you so that it just makes the process a lot less harder. One of the reasons I had trouble on deciding what to sell is because art prints, stickers, and 2D art of that sort did not excite me enough to make a collection. But around this time, I was really getting into clay, and specifically polymer clay. This was definitely due to the YouTubers I watched and still watch, which are Uncomfy Co and Gazoo Studio, and they are amazing clay artists. But I found polymer clay to be more exciting for me because I realized that I like 3D art a lot better. So the thought of opening a shop with physical items and polymer clay and a whole stock that I got to create really excited me. So I figured out what I wanted to do at this point, but still not exactly what I wanted to sell. And I thought about being a custom shop that makes polymer clay keychains of your childhood stuffed animals, but I was still a baby CEO, so I wanted to stay away from custom things for a bit. I also knew that I wanted to sell in person eventually, and that's when an idea hit me. How cute would it be if I was at a farmer's market, but instead of selling fruits and veggies, I sell polymer clay versions of those fruits and veggies? And then I can put them in their own tiny little crates and have tiny little price signs like you're shopping at a little farmer's market, and I would basically be the souvenir/gift shop of a farmer's market. And that's how Farmer Market Friends was born, aka my first collection. I started with a strawberry, then came a potato, and then a tomato, and then when I finished the fruits and veggies collection, I was like, these fruits and veggies need a farmer. And then Daisy and Darla were born, and then I was like, okay, you know what this universe needs? An antagonist, obviously. And then Devious Daryl, the lover of tomatoes, was born. But as you can see, I never planned my full collection in advance. I just kind of had an idea and rolled with it and picked up things along the way. And I actually tend to work better this way rather than having a full-length plan and following it through to the end. I mostly just freeball, so pick and choose what route's best for you, but that was definitely what was best for me. So over a month goes by and I'm finishing up my Farmer Market Friends series, and I want to actually open my shop and sell my items now. So the next thing I did before setting up my website or my shop at all was to make sure I was allowed to sell legally. Now I can't really offer much advice here because every state and legal system is a little different, but I will say when I had questions about becoming a legal merchant or I had a question on the application I was filling, I consulted ChatGPT. And if it weren't for ChatGPT helping me, I would be stuck on those applications shopless right now. But once all the legal stuff was done, which by the way is less intimidating and way faster than I thought, at least for me anyway, I started building my website. For my website, I decided to use Shopify, which is the sponsor of today's video. Just kidding. But I'm open, like, Shopify, let me know. But as I was saying, I chose Shopify over other website builders like Hostingers, which is one of the websites I tried. And although I can see Hostingers as a great place to host your website for e-commerce, Shopify is just the best of the best. So I thought if there's anything that I would splurge on when launching my shop, it would be my website. And once I chose Shopify, I started designing my website, taking lots of product photos, and setting up all of the shipping and all of that jazz. And this is actually where I made a huge mistake, so if there's any part of the video you need to pay attention to, it is this part. Do not make this mistake. I didn't know this, but setting up your website in general is no easy task. And it actually took me over a week to fully set up my website. So make sure when you're building your website, give yourself a lot of time, trust me. But setting up the shipping was by far what took the longest, so it was a bit confusing for me, but it was mostly because I was afraid of messing something up and losing money. But that's exactly what happened. And it was due to this one little checkbox that I checked off incorrectly. See, I use bubble mailers when I'm sending off all of my items, and when I set up the shipping, I told Shopify that I use envelopes instead of a soft package or satchel. I basically thought that an envelope was what I was using, when in reality, it's this. And past me had no idea what a soft package or satchel was, so I was like, well, it can't be this one, so I'll just click envelope. And then that little mistake cost me $67. I basically had to repurchase every single shipping label. All of the shipping was undercharged when people checked out, and I had to buy every single shipping label again out of my own pocket to make up for that mistake. So please, I beg you, make sure you know what you're clicking and do not make that mistake. After setting up the website and making sure everything was in line, all I had to do was make some promo for it, which by the way, I had been making short form content this entire time, so if you want some short form ideas or inspiration, you can check out my page. But I made a post specifically dedicated for the shop launch to let everyone know that it was live, and I posted that to all of my social medias to show my audience that I have been building for the past 5 months. And I posted it and finally launched my shop on May 3rd at 12 p.m. It has been almost a month since the shop launch, and in total I've made 16 orders so far, but 12 in the first 24 hours. So I think it was pretty successful for my first shop launch. But as you can see, a lot of your traffic will come at the beginning of your shop launch, and then it's up to you to continue promote it and work on on other projects in the meantime, which is what I'm doing right now. And although this may seem pretty simple and short, do keep in mind that it took me 5 months to launch my shop. And some of the weeks during that time, I was working non-stop. And I had to sacrifice time with friends, family, and relationships just to make this happen. But please make sure you go at your own pace and don't compare my timeline to yours or others, because I did that so much when I was launching my shop, and all it did was make me feel bad and behind and lose sight of everything that I had accomplished. But despite the long days, hours, and confusing terminology that I had to go through, in the end, I'm so happy that I stuck through with it and made my dreams come true. Let me know if you guys have any other questions about launching a business or my story in general by leaving a comment down below. But if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and comment Farmer Friends so I know you watched until the end. Don't forget to leave a like because it helps support my channel a lot, and I will see you on the next vlog. Bye!